going to be hard, but I think after all I've seen and heard about Wakanda Forever, I don't think they're going to get my money in the theaters. I'll just wait for Disney Plus. Why do I say that? Well, I don't usually like to bring politics or race into my reviews. I do every now and then when it's unavoidable. But when you have a film involving a character called the Black Panther, and the narrative takes place in Africa, albeit a fictional country in Africa, it's kind of hard to overlook race and politics if it seems like they're doing something that's totally unnecessary or out of line. When news first started to come around that Marvel wasn't going to recast the role of T'Challa, I was in agreement because I thought it would dishonor Chadwick Boseman. It would seem too commercial because he killed that role. But then I just started to hear more convincing arguments that, hey, this was, at that point, our only lead black iconic superhero franchise featuring a black male in the lead. Now, in today's world, you can't really, there's a lot of politics behind pushing forward black men, particularly strong, heroic black men. I mean, again, it's hard to avoid all of the statistics and the quote-unquote stereotyping and not come to a biased conclusion about the state of black men in reality. Now, there are some camps that would suggest that because I may have a pro-black male mentality, which why shouldn't I, by the way, if you look at me, some camps would say that means I'm anti other things, and I'll just skirt that issue like that, which is not true whatsoever. I will admit that I had questions about Ryan Coogler's ability to direct an action CGI superhero film, given the films that I'd seen of his, which were Creed and Fruitvale Station up to that point. And I will be the first to admit, he proved me wrong. Black Panther is one of the best films in the MCU. And in my opinion, there are only like 5 or 6 good films, really good films in the MCU. Black Panther is one of them. I thought it was important that a black male director direct that film. Just like I thought it was important that a female director direct Wonder Woman, at least the first outing. I do think there's something symbolic that's meritable behind that. So here we are now, 2022, Black Panther's coming out, I believe, in November, and it's been confirmed that Marvel Studios is not recasting T'Challa, which I strongly disagree with, and it's in part why I'm going to do my best to resist going to see this movie. Why? Why is it important that they recast T'Challa, at least in my opinion? Well, I've already alluded to one of the reasons, that it's important to see a black male iconic hero in a billion-dollar franchise, multi-billion-dollar franchise, which is the MCU. There are some people who would say to me, well, you know, Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie, the Falcon, he's now Captain America, and that's great. But I would say it's time to do away with the only one at a time mantra that seems to subconsciously exist in Hollywood. I mean, it is 2022, so I think by now it should be okay that there are actually 2 franchises in the MCU that are being led by a black guy. I mean, I can have that, right? And you know what? When I go watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, a superhero team with no black people at all on the team, one of them's green, Okay? Doesn't count that the actress is black because she's wearing green makeup. I mean, when I go watch Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm going to be okay with the fact that I'm not seeing any black skin on that squad. I won't complain. Only thing I'll complain about if the movie's not good. So give me the 2 black guys, okay? Let me have that. Here's my other reason for not going to see this film. Marvel has already put into place a mechanism where it would make total sense. They put into place a mechanism that would allow them to recast Captain America if Sam Wilson doesn't hold on to the costume or to the role. They put into place a mechanism that would allow them to recast Iron Man if they so chose. What's the mechanism I'm talking about? The multiverse. We just saw Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and we saw in Spider-Man No Way Home, we saw Doctor Strange open up the multiverse accidentally, and we got 3, count them, 3 Spider-Men on screen at the same time in what I'm going to say is Earth 616. I think Tom Holland is Earth 616 Spider-Man. Even if he's not, doesn't matter. We saw 3 Caucasian Spider-Men on screen fighting the bad guys. I just need someone to explain to me why you have this ability to put 3 of the same character in a film coming through the multiverse. 2 of them come through the multiverse. So I need to have someone explain to me why we can't have another T'Challa from another dimension come through, and maybe he's trapped on Earth 616. Or maybe they could write in the screenplay a reason that he wants to come to Earth 616. Maybe this alternate T'Challa was in a fight, or maybe in the alternate dimension, the events that we see in the first Black Panther movie, they don't turn out the same way, and maybe something tragic happens in Wakanda. Maybe something tragic happens during T'Challa's fight with Killmonger in this alternate dimension, so that he wants to come to Earth 616. Maybe he lost all of his family. Maybe Wakanda was destroyed, and he can't live with that burden of failure or that tragedy. You would have to write it where it's not like he's running away, that it would make sense, that I would believe, that the audience would believe that this hero decides to leave his dimension, his universe, and come into 616. But it could be done. Unless I'm missing something, they did recast Blade, am I correct? You know, Blade was made iconic by Wesley Snipes. That didn't stop him from recasting Blade with Mahershala Ali. I think I'm pronouncing that name right. So tell me, why can't we get another Black Panther? Why can't we get another actor to play T'Challa? Is there a political reason behind it? Is the name Black Panther too problematic? And if so, explain why. Now, this next reason, I gotta be really careful with the words I choose, because I don't want anyone twisting my words and creating a false narrative in regards to what I'm saying. But now I've got Namor. And what does Kevin Feige decide to do? I don't know what this is in response to, why he felt the need to do this, why the studio felt the need to do this. I have heard some things, but we're not getting a Namor from Atlantis, as far as I can tell, as far as from what I read. They are changing Namor's ancestry. They're changing it from Atlantean to Mexican. Now, I'm going to be very careful about this. Namor is the product of a relationship between a human and an actual Atlantean. So he has Atlantis an Atlantis bloodline. Basically, he is the analog to DC's Aquaman. Now, I believe Namor came first. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure. I think Namor came first. So what I'm hearing is that they've changed his ancestry because they don't want it to be too confusing. Marvel, the MCU, or Marvel Studios, does not want the character of Namor to be confused with Aquaman, which I call bullshit. DC, and I can't believe I'm giving props to DC, they actually had the nerve to have Grant Gustin play the Flash on TV, and then they hired this nut job, Ezra Miller, is that his name, to play the Flash on screen. DC gave no f***. If this is the reason why they're changing Namor from Atlantean to Mexican, I got an issue with that. Given Namor's features in the books, at least for the most part, I'm not talking about Namor, the current Namor, because I'm not familiar with that Namor, I'll be honest. I'm familiar with Namor dating back to Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, the Masters, up to one of my favorites, John Byrne, when he was on the book. That was probably the mid-90s. Namor had an Asian aesthetic about him. So I was like, hey, listen, if you want to cast an Asian actor, I got no problem with that, okay? It could be that the MCU coupling that produces Namor could have been with an Atlantean and a person of Asian descent. No problem with that. But Namor's background, his civilization, I got a problem that it's based in Mexican origin. I would have had a problem if they had cast an Asian character, but they said that his civilization was based in Asian origin. It's Atlantean. It's Atlantis. His civilization that he claims that he's enculturated with is Atlantean, not Mexican. Now, I want to be clear. Nothing that I said should be interpreted that I have an issue with the Mexican culture. I do not. But I do have an issue with things being transposed onto other things that didn't previously exist. That's my issue, and I want to make that clear. And even if they decided to, which they clearly did, make Namor's heritage Mexican, the actor that they chose or they cast, just looking at him, this is just from what I've seen, he has such a bland, innocuous look. I mean, Namor is a larger-than-life character. He's one of the most arrogant characters in Marvel Comics, and he just has a larger-than-life presence. I remember reading a book from a while ago, I'm talking about, decades ago, where Daredevil and Namor were in the same book. And I think Namor had hired Matt Murdock to launch a lawsuit against the human race for defiling Atlantis or something of that nature. And I remember, I know some of my fanboys out there know what book that is, but there's a panel where Namor is sitting at one of the lawyers' tables in court, and Matt Murdock looks at him and has a thought that, wow, even sitting in a chair in a courtroom, Namor has such a regal presence. I'm paraphrasing what Matt Murdock said in that panel, but that's spot on. Namor is the shit. This actor just does not convey that in the trailer or any of the images that I've seen of him. He looks just like any other guy that you might wander into or bump into. There's nothing special about him. Now, Once I see the movie on Disney Plus and I see his performance, I might say, okay, I'm not buying him as Namor, but he brought something to the role. He did a good job. But just from what I'm seeing, first impression, no. A couple of other problems I have, which are a little bit more, I don't know, nitpicky, but I just find it funny that rather than recast the role of T'Challa and have someone, a black male actor in the suit, they're gonna let a controversial anti-vaxxer wear the suit of the Black Panther. Yeah, I'm talking about Letitia Wright. Okay? I don't have anything against her personally. Some of the stories that I recall reading about her reasons for not getting vaccinated seem pretty stupid. She doesn't seem like a intelligent person based on what I read about her feelings about the vaccination for COVID. But I just remember she caused a stir, and yet they are letting her wear the suit. Marvel is not giving any fucks about, yeah, let's put her in the suit. Whereas there have been other circumstances where Marvel decided, we don't want to go, we don't need this. This is a business. We don't need this. We don't need this kind of attention. But they're letting Letitia Wright apparently lead the franchise, at least in this movie. Now, I am a slave to canon. And from what I understand, in the books, Shuri did become the Black Panther. I don't know when that was or if she still is, because again, I don't read comics anymore, so I'm not keeping up with it. But so the canon is there, I get it. But to me, that just means you can put Shuri in the suit for a minute in this film, and then because maybe T'Challa is unable to perform his duties, kind of like they did in the first one where Warmonger took over the Black Panther until T'Challa came back. Well, it might be kind of redundant, but do it again. If you must have Shuri wearing the suit, do it again and recast T'Challa. Might make for a convoluted screenplay, but the whole premise I'm putting forth here is I want to see T'Challa. Which leads me to my last gripe, that trailer. You got people out here that are upset and throwing shade at some critics, YouTube reviewers, because they didn't cry or get emotional during the trailer. Read my lips. That. There was nothing emotional about that trailer. That image that they showed of Chadwick Boseman, I didn't even recognize. I watched the trailer. I had to watch the trailer a second time when someone told me, yeah, they put pictures of Chadwick in the trailer. I'm like, huh? Where? Oh, that? Oh my God. No, that was a fail. I also think it's really fucked up that they are playing on our emotions to get our butts in the seats. I'm hearing rumors that T'Challa is going to be killed off screen. I'm also hearing rumors, and I really want anyone out there to tell me if this is what I heard, what I believe I heard is a possibility, that he's going to die of cancer off screen. I believe I heard that. I hope that's not correct. That would be the ultimate slap in the face. But at any rate, I just think that playing off of our emotions to go see this movie is despicable. And it's also kind of funny style that the only, if I remember correctly, the only dialogue you hear in the trailer is Angela Bassett's character, T'Challa's mother, talking about how she's lost her entire family and she's emotional over it. Again, if you're going to take this route, it makes sense that you would have a scene where his death, T'Challa's death, is acknowledged by the family. But if that's the only dialogue we hear in the trailer, it's clear what your marketing strategy is, and I think it's despicable. Black Death is a commodity in this society. So putting that in the trailer only plays into that, even though it's fictional. I don't care. Because we actually had a tragic loss in Chadwick Boseman. And so, if you're not going to recast him, I say shame on you for that, but definitely shame on you for using that emotional tug to sell tickets. So once again, I'm going to do my best to avoid this movie. I hate to use the word boycott, but yeah, I can't bring myself to go see this film given the conditions I just laid out. Now, if you guys go to see it or my friends go to see it and I hear that it's not what we were led to believe, I would consider it. But I can't see how it's not going to be a disappointment if we're not going to see T'Challa wearing the Black Panther outfit. And by the way, if they are going to have T'Challa be killed off screen, you better believe we need to see a procession of all the Avengers, just like we saw in Endgame, at the end of Endgame. We need to see that. That'll be another slap in the face if we don't get that. Get Steve Rogers back. I want Anthony Mackie needs to get paid. Iron Man's dead. Who do we got left? Thor. Bruce Banner. There needs to be a scene where they're in Wakanda at the memorial, which looks like there's going to be a memorial scene where because in the trailer, I'm assuming, where we see that god-awful portrayal of T'Challa. That's during a memorial or something like that. We need to see those characters in that scene, which I don't think we're going to see that either. So, all right, there you have it, guys. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Are you going to go see Wakanda Forever? All right, until next time, that's the Martini.